been struggling with Lightroom Infuse like I have, trying to find something that is, works the same way, or trying to get it to not delete itself and remove itself from Lightroom, dealing with it not working on Macs and having to use Rosetta, we've got an update. And that's going to come in the form of Enfuse GUI 3. And this is a program I believe I mentioned before, but I said to stay away from. It was one that I found back in 2019, 2018, when I was working for my old company trying to find a plugin that would work. And I didn't like it. You had to pay for it. It was really not user-friendly. It wasn't easy to use. It was buggy, and I couldn't recommend it. But I have revisited it this year in my kind of search for something to replace it, because Enfuse has been something that has been very meaningful to you guys, and it was very meaningful in the first part of my career because it really helped me get through a lot of photos quickly and make them look natural and not really have to spend a ton of money on editing when I was first getting started. Because when you first start, you don't have a lot of money, and a lot of times people don't have their prices right, and so they're really trying to find something that can help them keep as much money as possible. And this does kind of come with a caveat because this is paid for, and it is a subscription model. So to get that out of the way, it is $9.99 a month, or like $9.99 a month, or yearly is $79.99. And I always struggle with it because on one hand, I want to pay developers for good products, and I think that this person or this team has made very good, meaningful updates to this product since I last used it, and it has become far more usable. But at that same time, I understand that more subscriptions just really take more money out of your pockets. So the best way I would think about it is, to pay an editor, what would you be paying, right? Like, you would be paying at least $15 to $20. I mean, if you're like me, you're paying anywhere from $35 to $40 per shoot. And that's a lot. And for something that can give you natural looking, good results for real estate photos very quickly with very minimal effort. I mean, we're talking, you could probably knock out a big shoot for like probably a 6,000 square foot house in less than 45 minutes, maybe less than 30 minutes if you have everything really, really good, like tuned up for your workflow. That's pretty good. And so that's what I would think about or at least keep in mind when you are thinking about this. A couple of things that will change for it is no longer a plugin for Lightroom. This is a standalone version. So Enfuse, for those who don't know, Enfuse is just a command line. Like, it was developed by a couple people a long time ago, and it's just a command line. It was free and open source, and it still is. If you are, apt at programming, you could probably go get it and make your own program, and you don't have to worry about it. But the nice thing about this one is that it's a user interface. It's drag and drop. It's not a Lightroom plugin, as I said, but all you have to do is export things as a TIFF, drag and drop them in there. It will batch them out just like you're used to, and then it will spit out all of the infused files. You can then re-import them and continue like you normally have. It's really just a couple different button clicks as opposed to just staying in that one program. So that is a little bit different, but outside that, your workflow won't change after that in Photoshop. And finally, the last kind of big difference with it is that it has like a bunch of more documentation. So if you are interested in learning more about it, it does have a PDF manual that comes with it and explains in detail what all of the sliders and parameters and advanced features do. I use it as default, as you'll see when we hop into Lightroom here. But I just kind of use it as default, and it works really well, to be completely honest. And it's something that I now feel comfortable recommending this to people, even though you have to pay for it, because it is a very good option. Now, the nice part is there is a 30-day free trial that does not watermark your images, that does not put any restrictions on you. All you have to do is put in your email address, and they will send you a license key for a full 30-day trial of this, and you can use it as many times as you want in that 30 days for as many shoots as you want, which I think is really cool, because 30 days is a big amount of time, especially for the amount of stuff that we're processing through it. And I think it's a really good deal. And I think you guys should give it a try and see if it works for you. So let's hop into Lightroom, and I'll go over a little bit more of the differences and how I tackle them when I'm working with our typical 5 brackets for our Flambient editing. 3, 2, 1. All right, jumping into Infuse, or oops, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so we are here in Lightroom, and as I said earlier, this is not going to be about a workflow of infusing it, bringing it into Lightroom, and then taking it into Photoshop. That will still pretty much remain the same. You will just need to re-import your TIFFs, and then you will be able to go just like normal, just like in our previous Infuse videos, and bring them in and edit them in Photoshop. But we have here just a set of 3 different angles that I've picked from a recent shoot. We're going to put my interior starting base on here. I'm going to just slightly increase this exposure on the beginning one. We'll take that and we're just going to synchronize it straight across. I'm not going to sync white balance or exposure. I'm just going to leave it like that just to kind of show you the differences. We've got 5 brackets, 2 stops apart on each of these. It'll be a little bit different just because of that boosted exposure on this one. And you know what? As a matter of fact, let's just turn that off. And these are the different exposures that we are going to have. Now, I typically use a single exposure now whenever I edit my own photos. As I have said many times before, I am so busy now that the only thing I really edit myself is my architecture and editorial work, because I still find a lot of enjoyment in it, and the process is a lot more kind of what I want to do and what I want to get into, as opposed to trying to do just a ton of photos for real estate. It's something that I like doing the exteriors and I like I enjoy doing twilights and stuff like that, but for this I really enjoy just doing editorial and architecture stuff and leaving this to my very talented editors that I send it to, because it's just keeps me a lot happier and keeps me a lot more mentally sane doing all of this stuff. So we have all of these now. We are going to export them. And when we export them, I am going to export them as a TIFF. And the reason I'm exporting them as a TIFF is because if you export them as a DNG, or if you export them in their original RAW format, while this new Enfuse GUI will work with RAW files, the biggest problem is it doesn't retain the lens corrections, and I haven't really figured out a way to make it do that, and there's not a way in Enfuse GUI, which we're going to jump into here in a minute, for us to include lens corrections. And for the lens that I use, the Nikon 14 to 30 millimeter, it has tremendous vignetting on it that is corrected in camera. As a matter of fact, you can't turn vignette correction off in camera, and so when you export these as a DNG, or you export them, well, if you export them and you're using high efficiency file format, like I do on my Nikon, it also doesn't read them, so you just get a colored, blurry, lined mess because it can't decode the high efficiency file codec. So, long-winded version to say, we are going to use a TIFF format for this, and like I said, 16 bits, no compression, sRGB color space. Everything else is pretty much the same. I don't really mess with anything else on this one. I'm just exporting it to a folder on my desktop for this. You can choose where you would like to export that. And so this is going to be a little bit different than having a Lightroom plugin. I don't believe there is a way to make it into a Lightroom plugin here. You may be able to, but it is this Lightroom Enfuse GUI, excuse me, is a more updated and supported version of Enfuse, as opposed to Lightroom Enfuse, which is just not really supported and developed for anymore. So there's OBS. Hello, everybody. We are here on our desktop, and we are going to open the Enfuse GUI 3. I created a desktop shortcut. If it's not there, you can go search for it. And here it is. And this is what it looks like. It's drag and drop, so you're just going to take all your files here. Don't worry about the Enfuse folder that I can't delete because of OneDrive at the moment. We're going to drag and drop them on here. And we can infuse these. It has a bracket count, right, of 5 images. And so You just hit infuse and it's going to go every 5 images and it will infuse them. And you can add these to batches if we wanted to. So there's that if we wanted to start doing that, and you can start processing. I'm going to leave everything as the system defaults. I didn't change anything. I don't align the images. And the reason why is because I shoot on a tripod. It doesn't move. There's a ton of different things in here that you can change. The nice part about Enfuse GUI is it does come with a user guide, and it does define what all of these variables do and the things that you can add in to affect them. Again, I don't use any of it. I'm just going to use it on regular here, and we are just going to start processing. It's going to go in, and it's going to start processing all of our files here. Can't move it. Lovely. But this has been a pretty big surprise for me, because this program was, Enfuse is just a methodology of blending images, and other people have taken that methodology and put it into applications like Lightroom Infuse. Photomatix, I believe, has a version of Infuse as well, but this one was built into what is called a GUI, or graphical user interface, and it's always just been a command line program. So you needed a user interface for it, or you needed to be really good at just using command line, which, shocker, I am not. So I'm going to open these in Photoshop just to show you what they look like. But the biggest issue that I have had with this, because this is version 3, is version 2 and version 1 were not user friendly. Like, I don't know the programmer. I've never talked to him, never met him. It was pretty disappointing to use. This version so far has been a very polished, nice version to use, and I think is a good compromise as we get into finding a solution for Lightroom Infuse or a replacement for it. So these are just 5 blended brackets with my interior preset that I have always used, and as you can see, they're pretty dang good. They're right down the middle. They are very flat, but that's okay. There is not a single flash used in this, and I'm going to show you one thing that I have learned to bring some contrast back, because the one thing that you can say when you look at these objectively, in my opinion, is that they're very flat, right? Like, they're very flat, and if you wanted to get rid of this stuff, like these flares that I was getting from here, you would need to use a flash. A flash bracket would completely get rid of those. You could easily brush it out. You could use a darken layer, whatever, but the depth in these files is pretty crazy, just for being a couple clicks. And if you have a luminance masking program, or you know how to do it, we're going to generate a mid-tone mask. This is Raya Pro. It's what I use. I love it. There is a Pro panel that I may go to if Raya Pro doesn't keep getting updated or eventually stops working. But for now, we're using Raya Pro. So I'm going to click on this mid-tone mask, which of course it didn't do because I was not selecting a layer correctly. D, what are we doing here? There we go. Let's do that one more. One cannot complete request because the provided reference channel is not included. What is happening in real time? Let's do this. There we go. For some reason I had to flatten it. I'm not entirely sure why. But then we're going to take and we're going to turn that into a curves layer. So I basically just did a mid-tone mask. We're going to change it into a curves layer, and now, as we can see, if we click on it, everything that is white will be revealed, everything that is black will be concealed. This is selecting only the midtones, because that is where a lot of our contrast goes. We lose or increase our dynamic range, but we lose contrast because we're combining so many exposures together, and that's why we use this midtone mask. So what we're going to do is, now that we have it in our curves layer, we're just going to change this to a medium contrast curve, and you'll notice a lot comes back. It looks a lot better. You can also, if you want to and you don't think it's enough, you could do a strong contrast curve, or if you're really crazy, you could do to increase contrast. I personally like to stick to medium contrast or strong contrast. I think that it gives the best results. And hit F4 to flatten it, and as you can see, this looks pretty dang good for what we did. I mean, just for a couple clicks, mid-tone contrast, pretty decent. We'll do the same thing with this one. I'm going to flatten it, and then we are going to make a mid-tone mask again, just mid-tones 1, change it to a curve layer, and we are going to put a strong contrast curve on it, flatten it. Again, look at that. You can see almost all the way out into the mountains here. I mean, it was a little bit smoky that day. Again, a flash would really, really help with this, to blend it in using the standard Flambient blending that everybody is used to by now. But like, look at the detail on that. Like, we can almost read the text on that book. That is crazy. And for very, very little effort. Midtone up again, gotta flatten it. Whoops. Midtones has to do something with the layers in the TIFF, I'm sure. We will do curves, and then we will go and put that to a strong contrast curve. Now this one doesn't have any lights on. This was more of a designer editorial kind of shot, zoomed in here. But yeah, as you can see, that was pretty crazy, right? All for not having to use Flash, all for just a couple of button clicks, and it can be batch processed out. You could edit photos to make it look like this within probably 30 minutes, I would say, maybe even less depending on the size of the house, and you can get these kind of results. Again, is this the most compelling, you know, high-end retouched look? Absolutely not. But the amount of effort that was put into this versus what we get out of it is crazy. Yes, we have some highlight smearing here and some bloom happening, but it's so minimal and it's so light and so airy that most people aren't going to notice that. And if you can deliver something that looks like this, that is, I mean, without Flash, just HDR, without having to hand blend, just clicking a couple buttons, to me, that's pretty crazy. And it all is through this beautiful graphical interface here that you can use. It's just drag, drop, add to batch, infuse, pumps them all out. You could then pull them back into Lightroom. You can use a Flash if you want to. And it's just, it looks so good. And I think that now that we have seen Lightroom Infuse kind of fall to the wayside, and it's just, it just hasn't been developed for, right? It's not supported anymore. This is a fantastic way of doing it, and a fantastic way of getting that look that we want quickly and easily in 2025 and beyond to whoever else is watching this. And yeah, that really wraps up the editing portion of this, and I hope that it was helpful for you guys, and I hope that you guys can find a way to work this into your workflow if you have found that Lightroom Infuse has let you down and you are looking for something to help you out in 2025. That's pretty much what Lightroom Infuse GUI 3, excuse me, I keep saying Lightroom Infuse GUI 3 can do for you. It's really not a huge change to your, workflow. Just you have to export things as a TIFF, import them into it, run the batch, and then import them into Lightroom. It's a little bit of an extra step, but the speed of it seems to be a lot better than Lightroom Infuse in my opinion, and you can knock out a bunch of shoots in a really short amount of time, and I think that adds so much more value to this, even though you have to pay for it. And yeah, that is kind of the only sticking point with it, is having to pay for it. And I think that as long as you remember that, it's significantly cheaper than paying an editor, and the trade-off in quality for you and your business, where you are at in your business, is probably a good thing. It's something that you don't have to break the bank if you're brand new to this. If you're somebody who's been introduced to it through my videos, it's really easy to get really good results without having to rely on an entire team of people. And if that day inevitably comes that you get big enough, you need an editor, you can go that route. But Infuse will always be there, and it's always something that if something goes wrong and we can't, for whatever reason, a restriction is put on exporting things digitally overseas or whatever, you'll be able to take care of it yourself. And I think that is a really important thing to remember. Finally, I just want to thank you guys. I've gotten a lot of comments. I've gotten a lot of really nice, emails and things like that about, where I'm at, and people encouraging me with, the back pain that I've had and stuff like that. So I really appreciate it. And I appreciate your guys' video suggestions. I'm listening, I'm watching, I'm reading, and I am adding them all down so that when I do feel like I have time and I do feel good enough, I can make videos like this for you guys. So that is a big thank you from me to you. If you guys have any comments, questions, concerns, leave them down below and we will take care of them. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you on the next one.